All right, so this is a bombshell new article, you guys. Kids' lungs recovered faster than anyone expected. Here is the part that is easy to miss. The study, a team led by Queen Mary University of London, working with Imperial College London and the Universities of Bedfordshire, Oxford, Cambridge, Edinburgh, and Southern California, tracked more than 3,400 children for 5 years as part of the Children's Health in London and Luton CHILL study. Half the children attended primary schools in central London, where the Ultra Low Emission Zone ULEZ, a daily charge on the most polluting vehicles, took effect in April 2019. The other half were in Luton, a town with a similar traffic pollution profile but no clean air zone, serving as the comparison group. The findings were published in the Lancet Public Health. Before ULEZ began, lung capacity measurements showed children in London had significantly smaller lungs than children in Luton, a pattern the same research group had documented before. Over the following 4 years, that gap didn't just narrow, it closed. By the end of the study, London children's lung size and health had accelerated and improved to become comparable to children in Luton. The share of children with clinically impaired lung function fell from 14% to 9% in London, compared with a smaller drop from 9% to 7% in Luton over the same period. Because researchers followed two similar populations at once rather than just comparing London to itself before and after, they could rule out the possibility that this was simply a nationwide trend or a COVID era artifact. An independent reviewer, Professor Anna Hensel of the University of Leicester, said called it a carefully conducted study by a well-respected team and noted that the comparison against Luton was particularly useful because the 5 year window spanned the COVID 19 pandemic. The Luton data helped demonstrate the London findings aren't just a pandemic era artifact. The caveat matters and it's worth being precise about. Hansel also pointed out that the particulate pollution PM10 and PM25 actually fell more in Luton than in London over the study period. It was specifically nitrogen dioxide that fell faster in London, which is the pollutant most directly tied to the vehicle types ULEZ restricts. That's a more precise picture than London improved, Luton didn't. Both cities got somewhat cleaner air, but the specific pollutants ULEZ targets moved in a direction and magnitude you would expect if the policy, not general background trends, was doing the work. A separate strand of the same research program found that children in the ULEZ area were also more likely to shift from car travel to walking, cycling, or public transport than children in Luton over the same period. A behavior change that plausibly contributes to some of the lung effect to some of the lung health effect on its own alongside the direct air quality improvement. That overlap is one reason researchers describe the effect as strongly associated with ULEZ rather than claiming to have isolated a single causal pathway with certainty. Even with the improvement, the study's own authors caution against declaring victory. Dr. Helen Wood, the study's lead author, said that while it's now clear children's lung health improved alongside the reduction in air pollution, both London and Luton, along with other UK cities, still have air pollution above World Health Organization guidelines levels. So there's still work to be done. Why this isn't the climate story? It's tempting to read clean air policy goes to measurable child health benefit in 4 years through the same model most of us apply to climate change. Incremental, contested, dependent on everyone else acting, payoff decades away. The model doesn't actually apply here, and the reason is chemistry, not politics. Greenhouse gases like CO2 persist in the atmosphere for years to decades and mix globally. A ton emitted in one country warms the whole planet more or less equally, which is exactly why unilateral climate action gets diluted by everyone else's inaction and why policy problem requires international coordination. Nitrogen dioxide and particulate matter behave completely differently. They react, settle, or wash out of the air within hours to a few days. So their concentration is overwhelmingly a function of how close you are to the source. A local traffic policy can produce a local measurable health benefit regardless of what any other city does. Not because pollution never crosses borders. Wildfire smoke and regional haze are real cross border phenomena, but because for everyday exposure, local sources dominate enough that local action pays off on its own. This is a genuinely different kind of environmental problem than climate change, and it comes with a different, more encouraging political logic. You don't need a treaty, you need a city council. Pollution is hyperlocal. Which side of the pollution is hyperlocal down to which side of the street you're on. The localization goes further than city versus city. Air pollution concentration falls off sharply with distance from its source, and the gradient shows up at scales most people never think about. Distance from major roads matter enormously. The California Air Resources Board notes that street and building designs with more open space and varied building heights can cut near street traffic pollution by up to 67%. And something as simple as moving a bus stop from 65 to 130 feet away from an intersection can cut exposure by roughly half. Traffic related pollutants are consistently found to be elevated within a few hundred meters of major roads. Height matters too and works against children specifically. A UK charity's research comparing pollution exposure at child versus adult breathing height found children are exposed to about 30% more air pollution than adults simply walking the same route because they're shorter and closer to exhaust fumes. The same research found pollution levels inside a car in traffic run about 50% higher than on the pavement alongside it. Wow. Height matters. Height matters too, and works against children specifically.